Today's video is, should you invest your money with a financial advisor? So I've already talked about, should you have a financial plan? This is, once you've got a plan and you've started to save money on a monthly basis, should you invest it with a financial advisor? And I'm going to argue you shouldn't. You can do it yourself. And the sole reason is because the difference in fees that you'll pay over the long term has a massive impact on your pension pot. So usually when you go to a financial advisor and after you've worked out how much you're going to save, they're going to invest your money in various different mutual funds. And they're going to come up with a different ratio of investing in stocks, bonds, commodities, gold, etc. And the average fund that they will give you will charge you about 3% annually of however much you provide. So if you invest £10,000 a year, they're going to charge you 3% every year. I think it can actually be higher than that. But if you were to do it yourself, you could buy a tracker fund that, say, tracks the FTSE 250, and that will cost you about 0.15% annually. So that's 30 times higher in annual fees if you go to a financial advisor. Now, they might argue that they're going to find you mutual funds that will outperform the tracker, whether it's the FTSE, etc. Well, my friend Tony Robbins tells me that 96% of all funds out there underperform the benchmark. 96%. So the chances of your broker being the one that can find the 4% are very slim. Because if he's that good at finding funds, he's not talking to the likes of you and me. He's talking to millionaires and billionaires who will pay a lot of money for that advice. So let's think about what these numbers mean, because the difference between 3% and 1% sounds quite small. So the stock market over the long term has returned about 9% per annum. So if you're paying 3% a year for fees, you're only getting 5% per annum. So again, it doesn't sound too much, but let's put some numbers around it. Let's say there's two people, both 35, and they're lucky enough to have £100,000 to invest. One goes to a financial advisor who charges him 3% per annum, and the other guy does it himself and it costs him 1%. Now, I think you can do it for less than 1%, but for argument's sake, let's say it's 1%. They meet up when they're 65. The guy that went to the financial advisor, his pension pot is now £325,000. The guy that did it himself has now got £575,000. So that's a £250 difference, which practically could mean a difference in your retirement age of 10 or 15 years. So if you wanted to retire earlier, you'd have that option. Whereas the guy that's gone to a financial advisor might mean you've got to work for longer, or you don't have the comfort of knowing that all of your expenses are covered in retirement. So I would argue that you should invest yourself. I'll admit I did go to a financial advisor. I did set up a regular saver account with them. I gave them money every month. I thought I'd done my homework on how much the fees were. I thought it was low. It probably took me 2 years to realise I was paying 4 or 5% per annum. And I was lucky enough to get my money back. And like most people, I had a busy job, I had a busy life. I didn't go and read all the small print. Obviously they make it difficult for you to work out, but I promise you, if you go and add up all the different fees, you're going to be paying 3 to 5% with whoever you're going with. So invest yourself, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments.